My name is Kathryn Waldhall, and I am very pleased to present to you the latest release of our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir. This is a wine that we are especially proud of, not only because it's wonderful quality. This is a vineyard that was named after my father, Bob Wald. My dad was a very dedicated farmer. He really approached his job with great joy. When we found that this vineyard was available several years ago, we were very excited.
Once we laid eyes on it and we saw its location, the soils, the multitude of rootstocks and clonal varieties of Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, situated in the southern part of the Russian River AVA of Sonoma County. Directly to the south is the Petaluma Gap. The Petaluma Gap is known for its coastal influences, cool mornings, foggy mornings, windy afternoons.
When you're out at Bob's Ranch, you can really feel the wind coming in through the Petaluma Wind Gap, the gently rolling hills, the beautiful vines. You get a strong sense of place, really wonderful, unique, fine loamy soils, excellent climate, and it produces Pinot Noirs that are dense and rich and very concentrated. And I hope that all of these things are reflected in the finished wine. That's what I try to do in my winemaking, is be true to the vineyard and allow that vineyard character to really express itself.
We've acquired many remarkable vineyards, and Bob's Ranch is really one of the unique ones. It just stands out.
There's really no other vineyard that I work with that offers such an array of clones and California field selections, and it makes the resulting wine so unique and dense and concentrated and unparalleled in quality. We're so fortunate to have this vineyard in our portfolio.
I know my dad would be very proud of the wines that come off of his namesake vineyard. This is just the kind of wine that he used to love. The flavors are so beautiful and intense and nuanced. I hope you love the wines that come off of this vineyard. We certainly do. Here's to great Pinot Noir, to my father, and to you. Cheers. And cheers again. Hi, everybody. I am you all. So my name is Kathryn Waldhall again, and I am here at the beautiful Fleming's in Naples, Florida. I'm sitting right next to Al Romeo, who is the managing partner for this fabulous restaurant. Fleming's is a wonderful chain. I want to say thank you to you all for making our lives so great, and we appreciate your partnership. And to all of you who are joining, you are wonderful partners, and we are thrilled that you are joining us today. So we are today releasing our 2021 Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir, my favorite Pinot Noir. And here's the bottle. And we're going to be joined by Megan, our Gunderson, our winemaker, who's out working hard in Napa Valley right now. But for right now, let me just say a little bit about this wonderful vineyard, so that you heard a little bit about during the video. But anyway, we really do love this vineyard and the wine that it produces. It was a really fabulous addition to our portfolio for Walt, and it is really, for those of us who know our other brands, this is the Kathryn Hall for our Walt brand. So this is the pinnacle of our efforts for Walt. So before I get too far into saying wonderful things about this wine, which I will have more of a chance to do, let's bring on our great winemaker, Megan Gunderson. Megan, I know you're there. Where are you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hey.
Cheers. This is so exciting.
I know. Yeah. And 2021 is fabulous.
Well, 2021 was a great vintage. We had, really beautiful balanced growth in the vineyard. In the video, you saw Don Monk, who's our director of viticulture, walking the vines, and it was just a really exceptional year. Yields were low, the weather was fantastic, and I think the 2021 version of Bob's is just the perfect expression of that site. It's dark, it's concentrated, there are lifted earthy notes, and it's just got this beautiful balanced acidity that's going to bring a lot of ageability to the wine. And we're just so excited about the 2021 Bob's Ranch.
So this, I know we don't have any sugars in this, but there's a sweetness from the fruit on the palate that just makes this so luscious.
Yeah, so that's coming a lot from the winemaking process and the barrel aging. So the type of barrel that we use to age all of our Pinot Noir in, but in particular, the Bob's Ranch is a very specific cooper, and it's made to highlight the fruit and the site and to bring some just beautiful length and sweetness to the finished wine. And I think the balance in this vintage is just perfect.
So let me say, first of all, I want to say welcome to all of our wonderful partners who are out there. And I want to give a special shout out to the cheeseheads. So Wisconsin, you did a fabulous job turning out for this event. So everybody, thank you so much for joining. So with that, I hope you all are settling in with a nice glass of our Pinot Noir. Megan, talk to us a bit, if you would, about the vineyard site.
Yeah, so we discovered this vineyard, gosh, about 8 years ago now. And we were looking in that area at other vineyard sites to acquire. And, Don and I were riding around with a real estate agent. And in the back of the truck, there was this brochure for this particular vineyard. And I just opened it. We started reading through. And I was like, there is nothing else like this that I have seen before. It's 72 acres, 50 acres of Pinot Noir, about 22 acres of Chardonnay. And it's this wonderful mix of rootstock and clonal materials. So we've got the heritage clones, we've got Dijon clones, and it's really complex. And it excited me so much because it reminded me of our Sacrochet vineyard on the Hall side. So this really complex patchwork of unique vineyard blocks. And those are the kinds of things that excite the vineyard and winemaking team. And so we started working with it in 2014. And we discovered that it's so special. It's situated in the Russian River and the Sonoma coast, and it really expresses itself more as a true Sonoma coast Pinot Noir. You've got the earth, you've got the really bright, lifted acidity, the crunchy dark fruits, and more as we work with this site over time, we're refining what we do and getting really, really kind of into the details. That's what we like to do here. So we are fortunate enough to have a large winery that's set up as a small boutique winemaking facility. So we've got many, many tanks that are very small, ranging in size. And so we can keep all of these unique vineyard blocks separate, which not many people can do. That's something that, when we designed this winery, we kept that in mind. That was important to us. And what that translates into is that we can keep these blocks unique, and we can really maximize the potential of all of these unique combinations of rootstock and clone. And what we end up with at the end of the winemaking season is this really beautiful array of, nuanced, different little pieces of Bob's Ranch. And then we can go back, and when we sit down to taste and blend in the spring following harvest, we find the blocks that are most exciting from that vintage and what we feel are the purest expressions of Bob's Ranch. And then we use those to create our Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir. So it's really a labor-intensive exercise. And it's really sort of, we're nerdy in our approach to Pinot Noir. We like to get into the details. And it's just year over year, the site performs. It's exceptional. And that's why it's our flagship Pinot Noir. We just love it.
There really isn't anything easy about this vineyard, is there?
No.
With 72, don't you have something like 43 different blocks?
43 unique vineyard blocks. Some of the vineyard blocks intersect each other in the middle of the row. So you really have to learn the site And, you know, like I said, we've been working with it for, this will be the 8th vintage, and we're just now really starting to figure it out. So it's something that's taken time and has been a real labor of love for us, but it's been very rewarding at the same time. And something unique about our 2021 vintage is that we utilized some whole cluster fermentation. So we have been, typically with our Pinot Noir, we destem. So we remove the berries from the stem and then just ferment the berries in the tank. And with Bob's Ranch, we have discovered that a little bit of that traditional whole cluster fermentation really adds to the expression of the ranch. And so we'll do about 5% whole cluster fermentation typically. So these are clusters that are not, they do not go through the destemmer, they're whole clusters. And we're sourcing these particular clusters from specific vineyard blocks where the stems get nice and ripe. So you want this nice brown stem with beautiful kind of supple tannin, and it just adds to the overall nuance of the finished wine. And so we've refined that over the past few years, and we feel like we've really hit a sweet spot of that 5% whole cluster fermentation. We're also utilizing concrete tank in some of our vineyard blocks for making the Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir, and that just brings a freshness and a lift and really preserves the Bob's Ranch character. So there's a lot of different things going on, a lot of things that we've developed over time through research, and I think it's really made this a very special and elevated expression of Bob's Ranch.
You know, we've talked about how the vineyard itself is so unique, and we're excited about that. But there also is something very special and unique about how long, Megan, you have been working, and Allison, your team, has been working together. And I'd love you to just talk a little bit more about the value of experience and sort of working together and working for some time all together on this particular vineyard.
Of course, yeah. So we have a very long tenured team here at Hall, and Hall Family Wines is a fantastic place to work. Craig and Kathryn have always been so committed to what they do. They're innovators. They encourage us to innovate and to go explore different things. And so what that translates into for me in particular, I've been here for 18 years now, is it's exciting and you don't want to leave. And our senior winemaker, Allison Frichtel, who has a huge hand in all of the Walt Pinot Noirs, has been here for 15 years. Don Monk, our director of viticulture, has been here for almost 16 years. And so we all know each other really well. We're very clear on what the end goals are. And I think more importantly, we really trust each other and respect each other and listen to ideas. And that's, I think, rare in this industry. And so we have something really unique here on this team that we're all really proud of.
And I'm telling you, I'm looking around our table here in Naples, and I'm just thinking that everybody is really enjoying this wine. What do you think, guys? Amazing.
Excellent. Well, that's what the winemaking team loves to hear. That's the best compliment that we can receive.
Excellent. So I'm thinking we're going to have some questions that are coming in from our audience, those of you who are joining us online. So do we have any questions that have come in yet? Let me see. Okay, I got one here. Asking, you shall receive. How would you, Megan, these are to you, how would you compare this wine to Clos Pepe?
That's a great question. So how would I compare this wine to Clos Pepe? So let's backtrack a little bit on that. So when we launched the Walt brand back with the 2010 vintage, what appealed to us was the vast array in which Pinot Noir can express itself in the different growing regions throughout California and up into Oregon. And so when we started this brand, we were fortunate enough to be working in the Shea Vineyard in Willamette. We had some fantastic properties in Anderson Valley. In the Sonoma Coast, we're working with Gaps Crown, Bob's Ranch, and then down into Santa Lucia Highlands and Santa Rita Hills. And all of these are very, very different expressions of Pinot Noir. So with Bob's Ranch, and the goal with Walt is to really accentuate that. We want for the winemaker's influence to be a very light touch, and we want for these growing regions and specifically these individual vineyards to really shine and be unique. So Bob's Ranch, we talked about dark fruit, earth. It's a brooding wine, it's very powerful. And then at Clos Pepe, which is another estate vineyard in the Santa Rita Hills, you've got a totally different climate, completely different soils, and it's bright red fruit. You get a pop of fruit. You get very lifted aromatics. There's always like some hibiscus floral notes to it. And then because of the soil in this region, you get this beautiful minerality on the finish, and the wines are always very fresh. So same variety, just two totally different growing regions, and the end result is just stunningly unique.
Different growing, but they're actually not that far from each other. I mean, I think to drive from one to the other is maybe an hour. But is it
between
more?
Bob's Ranch and Clos Pepe?
Yes. No, it's more.
About 4.5. Yeah. So Bob's Ranch is located in Sonoma Coast between the cities of Cotati and Sebastopol. So right off of Highway 116 for those of you who are familiar with the area. And then to get to Clos Pepe, it's a straight shot down 101, Highway 101. And then you hit Highway 246, which is about 45 minutes north of Santa Barbara. And that's where this whole Santa Rita Hills wine region is. And it's a really exciting and up and coming area. A lot of really fun vineyards and fun winemakers in that region.
Yeah, it really is. So you would know this drive well because you are doing it a lot.
A lot. I've done the down and back in one day before. So
oh my. Yeah.
It gets busy at harvest time.
Another question. So you were talking a bit ago about clones. Tell us, what is a clone?
So a clone, sorry, there's a mosquito in here. So a clone is a different, Pinot Noir likes to change. So there's a lot of different genetic mutations of Pinot Noir over time, over different vintages. And in particular, Pinot really likes to change. It's very kind of volatile that way. And so what's unique about Bob's is that we have clonal material. So think of it as a toppings on a pizza, right? You've got your black olive, you've got your green pepper, you've got your mushroom, and they all have a different flavor and they all work together on that pizza. So at Bob's Ranch, you've got all of these different clones and field selections of Pinot Noir. A clone is just a cleaned up, isolated, genetically stable version of Pinot Noir. And the field selections came from different vineyards in California where the traits of that particular type of Pinot Noir were favored. And so people gathered that and propagated it into other vineyards. So these are all really unique expressions. Some are more fruity, some are more earthy, more floral lifted, lighter bodied, fuller bodied. So you've got that layered on top of the site, which also has an influence. And it just becomes a very complex, really fun, multi-layered vineyard to work within. So the clones for Pinot Noir are really, really important. That's what you're looking for as a winemaker, as a wine consumer. The clones are what really make this variety so difficult to grow and so very interesting.
I think that's really great that you to talk about the pizza and what you think, because it is really analogous because of the way that different flavors sort of blend. They are sitting alone, they are one way, and combined with each other, they are very different. Very
Exactly.
different.
Exactly.
So tell us about how this wine here is going to age, the 2021 Bob's.
So how the wine is going to age. So 2021 was, as I said before, a great growing season. I think because of the nature of the growing pattern we were in. Some of you may not know, but the state of California has been, or had been up until this winter, in a series of drought years. And so what that typically means is smaller vines, smaller clusters, because the vine is trying to protect itself from not getting all of the water it really needs in the winter time. And winemakers love these vintages because there's less fruit out there, and we feel like sometimes the flavors are more intense, a little bit more balanced. Growers don't love these vintages so much because there's not as much fruit on the vine, but 2021 in particular was low yielding because of those growing conditions. And I think very concentrated. I find a beautiful acidity and a freshness on the 2021 vintage that's coming from those climate conditions during the growing season and harvest. And so I think that the way this wine came together lends itself naturally to maybe a little bit more aging potential than some of the other vintages of Bob's Ranch that we have. And that's all driven by the vintage. So I think that this wine could easily go for 6 or 7 years where there's still really good concentrated dark fruits and it's going to be fresh and vibrant. And then after that, it's going to peak and it's going to start taking on some secondary aromas, more barrel aroma, more, aged aromas. It's going to soften a little bit, but easily 10 years, if not more.
So the acidity plays a big role in the ageability of a wine, doesn't it?
Yeah, acidity is very important, especially in Pinot Noir, because the acidity for me keeps the wine very fresh and lifted on the palate. And that's important for aging, in particular, California Pinot Noir, which, we don't have a problem with getting anything ripe really in California. It's more about controlling the ripeness. And so, I like that this vintage for Cabernet as well just has more natural acidity. And we're pretty excited about the longevity of the wines across all 3 brands in 2021.
I'd love to hear you talk about this I don't think you use this word, but I will say restraint. When you are making your wines, you do use restraint. And I think that is really largely why the wines that you are producing for us now, and you have been producing for us, are just so incredibly elegant, delicious and luscious, but at the same time, with real elegance. You have a beautiful touch.
Thank you. Yeah, we work so hard to find these unique vineyard sites, whether there are estate vineyards or whether we have partnered with a grower who is equally committed to the level of farming that is one of our core values. We as a winemaking and grape growing team want to highlight what the vineyard has to share. And it's really easy to lose that if the grapes get overripe, or if you're too invasive in your winemaking, if you're too heavy-handed and too manipulative, if you're using too much new French oak. And so we work really, really hard to try to do the work in the vineyard to get really good balance in the vineyard. And it takes a lot of time. We're visiting many, many vineyard sites, especially as harvest approaches, to try to get all of these wines at their peak level of ripeness and balance, and then to just gently guide that through the winemaking process, aging and blending. So I think we're always talking about that and always giving each other feedback so that we can make sure that we're not interfering too much.
So I think we're coming to the end of our time that we can keep everybody together. Any last words you want to leave with everybody, Megan?
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. I hope that after tasting this wine, you're as excited about it as we are. We love the Bob's Ranch Pinot Noir. We're excited to release it and to share it with you. And we appreciate all of the hard work that you all are doing every day, representing our wines. So thank you very much, and cheers.
I will drink to that. Yeah. Thank you, Megan. And I'd like to add just to everybody, all so much for being our partners, for participating today, but who really participating and showing up and presenting our wines. We are proud to work with everyone on this call and just hope that we will have many, many more years together to work together and provide you and your clients and customers many more glasses of wonderful wines, including wines like this wonderful Bob's Pinot. So cheers, everybody. Now, when you are coming, you know that wines taste better in Sonoma and Napa Valley. So come on out and see us out in California. We'd love to have you or your clients come out and visit us. So let us know when you're coming our way. In the meantime, to you all, cheers. Cheers. Thank you. Thanks. Cheers, Megan.
Cheers. Cheers, Kathryn.